everyone, we're going to experiment with some crayon rubbings. Now all I am using is just regular, you can use Crayola crayons. These are a cheap brand. I'm also going to try an oil pastel. It does the same thing. Now to find a rubbing, anything that has a raised surface you can get a rubbing from. I love this flip-flop. This flip-flop is the best rubbing. It's my favorite, so I'm going to start with that. I always look at everybody's bottoms of their shoes to see what kind of print they have on the bottom. You can find some really cool stuff. So I am just going to use a regular piece of white paper, not too thick because you want to feel the texture underneath, and a white crayon. And all I'm doing is making a rubbing. I'm just rubbing some crayon onto the paper. Now, since it's white on white, you can't see any of it, which is fine, because we're going to fix that. So here's the rubbing, and I am going to use some ink pads since I have them out. They're handy. I usually use watercolor for this, but this will work. Now I can brush over this, which I think I'll do first, so you can see it happen. Now you can see where the crayon was rubbed against the paper, and it acts as a resist, and when you push watercolor over, it goes to the paper and not where the crayon was, so it's an interesting effect. Now this one, of course, was done with ink, so it's not very dark. This one I did last night with watercolor. Same kind of thing. I do like the way that I did a thick coat of watercolor on it and just let it dry, and it kind of distorted with little droplets. It dried differently, and I do like how it's different. It's not uniform, is what I'm trying to say. So you can do that with watercolor, or you can even do it with inks. To find things that are raised, you've got stencils, you've got my favorite fun foam. Here's a pot holder that will work. I also do cross-stitch mesh, and just so you can see what happens, I'm going to do cross-stitch mesh, and I'm going to use the oil pastel. It is not water soluble, so it will do the same kind of thing. So I'm just going to lightly go over this in some areas and put some more ink over here since I kind of used up all of that. And what I'm going to do this time is just dip it in. It's more unpredictable that way. You don't know what's going to happen. You let the watercolor or the ink go where it wants to go, and then that's what you're left with. And I like the splotchiness in areas. You got more color in some places. It adds interest. I like that. So let's get this wetness out of the way. Let's try fun foam. Let's try with a color. Actually, you know what? You can do this also with watercolor crayon. Watercolor crayon is water soluble, so it is a little different. You can put your color down. I'm going to try to put a thick coat of color down so we can see what's going on here. What color should I use with that? We'll use this. I'll try to water this down a little bit so it's not quite so dark. That really is a dark color. So we can brush over this a little bit. Now, since the watercolor crown is not wax, it does kind of blend with the water a little bit. Well, quite a bit actually. This is what happens when you just dip it in. You get some distortions, and that can be kind of fun as well. I still like regular crayon better. So let's try this stencil. And I'm going to go back to my, let's do yellow. Let's do yellow. Let's see what happens with the yellow. A little bit of color. I haven't done this one yet, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm just going to dip it right in there. Let's do it a couple times. Make sure there's plenty of color. And there you go. An interesting resist. So that's that technique. Really fast, really quick. Have fun.